Haunted hello, my children! We have looked at many an anthology series from Marvel and DC. But let us go back a bit further to another comic company, Charlton, and look at their attempts to horrify. Our first story from the Baron is Uncle Stanley Isn't Dead. We meet the teacher, Uncle Stanley, as he shows his nephew Paul his will, showing off that he will be inheriting his fortune, although part of that insists they take care of his niece, Nora, until she is 21. The most unusual clause of the will, though, is that they are forbidden from going down to the basement. Why that is cannot be explained, since sadly he and his wife Marcia have poisoned him. Even after death, Uncle Stanley continues to annoy them. The house they inherit has so many modern electronic gadgets at their disposal. Nora is also an annoyance to them, but Paul plans to poison her at some point as well, so that she doesn't get any money from the estate. However, since Nora knew the house better than them, she was able to use the computers to get everything she wanted, and the computers instruct her to go to the basement. Upon emerging from it, she knows the truth about Paul and Marcia murdering Uncle Stanley, and she claims Uncle Stanley is alive in the basement. Marcia questions her about it, but she just says they need to be careful, or Uncle Stanley will deal with them. And indeed, from down in the basement, he can control all, even make a stray electrical cord give off some nasty sparks. They exhume his body to prove that he is dead, but that doesn't make a difference, for they follow Nora into the basement to discover Uncle Stanley's brain hooked up to advanced equipment. The two flee in terror, but they never make it to the front door. Next up is the payoff. Ex-Air Force pilot Jock Childress ran a charter plane for anyone willing to pay him. Whether your cargo and passengers were legal or illegal, he would be happy to take you where you wanted. Soon, a man wants to pay him to fly to an unknown location where a rich dictator is supposed to pay him off. But once in the air, the man decides to take control of the plane so that he won't have any witnesses to his escape. Fortunately for Childress, he is able to send the man out of the plane with a few well-timed maneuvers. Inspecting the dead man's luggage, he finds $300,000 and a passport. He decides to assume the man's identity to Guyana, his actual destination, and hopefully make some more cash. However, once there, the Guyana officials double-cross him, stealing his briefcase full of money and most of his clothes to leave him to fend for himself in the jungle. Unfortunately for them, they did not hear the man give his warning to Childress about not trying to open the briefcase, since it could prove explosively fatal. Our final story is brain fever. Meet Dr. Hugo van Steiger, a modern-day Frankenstein devoted to creating a patchwork person from cadavers. He and his daughter Ophelia have need of only one final component, a human brain. Unfortunately, the grave robbers they had hired for collecting parts are unwilling to bring them a live subject for them to use in their experiment. As such, Van Steiger and Ophelia head out to try to lure someone into their carriage to abduct and use for the experiment, failing until they locate a homeless vagrant sleeping in the cemetery. He is of course frightened when he wakes up tied to a slab, ready to have his brain transferred into the new body, but there is little he can do about it. And with the operation, they have rewritten the laws of science and nature, bringing life to this new monstrosity. The new creation obeys von Steiger's commands, being his creator, but the sight of the full moon makes it afraid. For you see, in their rush to find a brain for their creation, they did not think that their brain donor might already suffer from a malady normally undetectable. It was a case of lycanthropy, and their already hideous creation sprouts fur and fangs, for it is now a werewolf. And so Van Steiger and Ophelia found themselves the first victims of this new hybrid of horror. Baron Weirwulf's Haunted Library is a delightful anthology full of various kinds of monsters, from the all-too-human to the gloriously inhuman.